Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Quick update to a story we've been following really throughout the duration of this show.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's been a long time since we first brought this to your attention. If this is the only place you go for news, thank you, first of all, and you're at the right place. We've been following the Megan Fox Machine Gun Kelly love affair
since the beginning,
all the way back from the blood transfusions.
Right.
Oh, wait, they maybe have split up. Oh, wait, they're having a kid together.
Yeah, I think they were in the odd news every day for like 2 weeks there for a stretch.
It was a long time ago.
It was.
Well, TMZ is reporting that Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly have now split up.
No!
Just months before their arrival of their child, which, I mean, you just hope for the best in this situation. You just hope for the best. I don't know. That kid's life was probably never going to be great, but now it's in big trouble.
Big trouble.
I don't know. Maybe it's better. They feel like a couple of those people who, they're okay on their own, but together they're toxic.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're okay on their own. I don't know. So I don't know. Hopefully this isn't the end of the MGK Megan Fox story, but we owed it to bring you the latest. We owed it to you to bring you the latest.
But like the portal,
you never know.
You can't always get back together.
Well, maybe they're just testing the waters and seeing what kind of deals are available for them out there.
Now, does it say who entered the portal?
I'm a upcoming father. I left my pregnant wife. Anybody interested? Anybody interested? Hello, I'm pregnant with MGK's child. Anybody interested? Test the waters. Test the waters. That's what people are doing in the transfer portal these days. So yesterday, who knows where this stuff comes from originally, but people are very guarded. We're very on edge about the whereabouts, the happenings, the minute-by-minute thoughts of one Dylan Raiola. By the way, Jason writes in, have to save Josh's no scream for Grunt the Slate. It's a good one. Okay. Go back and mark that one. That's a good one. What's Dylan Raiola up to? What's he thinking? What's he doing? What's he want? Does he need something? Do you need a coffee? Do you need a mint?
You need tickets to the Chiefs game?
You want to go cosplay Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday night?
Sure.
Absolutely. We can hook that up for you. Whatever you need. We just need to make sure you're happy. It is imperative to our program that you're happy. So when that happens and we think about a person too much, somewhere along the way, you start wondering, why would he stay? Nebraska stinks. His offense was not so good this year. He maybe regressed throughout the season. Maybe he got a little better at the end, but he regressed throughout the season. It didn't work out how we thought it was going to work out. Maybe he wasn't the prince that was promised. And so that sort of thought process gets out there, and all of a sudden people start wondering. And Dylan works very closely with the apparel provider Adidas. And
that's right.
Then people start drawing lines and drawing arrows, connecting dots. Well, Miami's an Adidas school. Texas A&M is an Adidas school. He has to stay with Adidas. So why don't we just park a big Brinks truck on his driveway or in his dorm? Or I don't know. I don't think Dylan probably lives in a dorm.
Probably not.
Does Dylan Raiola live in a dorm? I mean, back in my day, you had to live in a dorm when you were a freshman.
I imagine there are exceptions made for exceptional people.
Who's Dylan roommates with? Is he roommates with Ja'Cory Barney? Have we covered this year? I don't know how that didn't come up. Interesting. Anyway, maybe if you're one of those schools and they're NIL collectives, you say, you check in. You say, what's going on? And then people get really nervous. And there was, I think, some reporting yesterday.
You were right on the roommates.
Did we cover this? It is Ja'Cory Barney?
Yes.
It's just one roommate?
Appears so.
Wow. So he got a 4-person room with just 2 people. Very interesting. There was a national 24/7 sports reporter who put him in a story about like potential portal entry guys and said that there was one of my favorite words around this time of year, some smoke. There was some smoke.
Oh no.
There was some smoke.
There's some smoke at the crossroads right now.
There is. It, by the way, rekindled. Fire this morning, put out the fire, everybody leaves, they go home, fire's back at the crossroads.
Insurance fraud.
Not sure what's going on there. But there was some potential smoke, according to a national 24/7 sports reporter, Chris Hummer, who put him in a story yesterday. And then by yesterday evening, Dylan Raiola did an Instagram story. I hate my life. Did an Instagram story about how he was all in. He's back. Maybe every player should just do a graphic or a hype video or something like that. Does every player need to reaffirm their commitment to the school that they're at every single year now? Because when you think about it, everybody's on, I mean, they're on no contracts really whatsoever, but really it's a year-by-year thing. It's 1 year at a time. And, you know, Nebraska fans knew what we were getting into when it came to Dylan Raiola, and now that turns out that's the case with everybody. And there's a lot of people who jump into the transfer portal simply because, you know, like we said with Machine Gun Kelly, they want to see what's out there. They want to see what's out there. They want to check on, maybe they want to check on some potential earnings, or maybe they want to check on their value and how they're valued and get a hard laid out plan for the school that you're already at. Maybe it's a way to put pressure on the place that you're at. You can use your leverage to your advantage and say, what's your plan for me? And here's what I want. And can we make this work? If so, I won't enter the portal, or I will enter the portal and I will come back to that place. I think that's happening. There's a bunch of different reasons why players would enter the transfer portal, but maybe we need to do that. I mean, obviously this leads to a bigger conversation about what the hell is going on with the transfer portal right now. I mean, this is nuts.
Pretty crowded in there.
This is nuts.
I laughed at John Bishop's PowerPoint graphic when he started. I was like, okay, that's a funny little bit. And now I found it to be rather helpful each passing day.
What's on there?
Just the list of transfers and the list of Husker players entering the portal. I find it very helpful now that I can now that it's too many people to keep track of.
Okay. Do you have the list in front of you?
I do.
Read them to me.
Gosh, I hope I say all these names right. Keona Davis?
Yes, in the portal. Not for sure gone.
Noah Booster?
Noah Bustard.
Bustard. I would have been right. Okay.
He's a bustard.
Gage is in there.
Gage Stinger?
Wager?
Gage Wager. Okay. Not Gage Stinger.
Mason Jones.
Riker Evans.
Brody Tagaloa. Dwight Boodle. Ethan Nation. What did I say?
Ethan Nation.
Oh, okay.
You got it. I'm just repeating everything you're saying.
Davon Hall.
Damn.
See, the font's so small, I got to get in there. Kai Wallen. James Williams,
the sack man.
Prince Will Uman Mielen. Daniel Kalen. Makai Gayer. When I see it, I can't say it.
Bayer.
Yeah.
Take out the G.
But when I see it, I'm like, oh, there's a G. I got to say it. Jamari Butler. Gabe Irvin. Vincent Jackson. Stephon Thompson. Malachi Coleman. Sincere Safiula.
Yeah, he got kicked off. I don't know what happened with him. He left the team a long time ago.
It's his story to tell.
Same thing with Ethan Nation, too. These guys now.
Well, they're on John's list.
Go into the portal. So, people go into the portal for a variety of different reasons. Maybe it's the old. This is why we did the portal tiers when we were in Vegas.
That's right.
It's like, why do people go into the portal?
Very helpful.
This is why this person could go into the portal, checking their worth, checking out what might be out there for them, or you can go in for the old school reason. I want to play. I want to go somewhere and I want to play. I'll go anywhere. I just want to play. Will anybody take me? Because I just want to play. Or you're a walk-on and you have been a victim of significant roster cuts. That is a reason for a few of the names on that list as well. So the portal, it's a disaster right now. And yes, people say, I know you hear people say that every day and you're probably sick of hearing them, but the thing that has to happen is that coaches have to adjust to this. At the moment, we're still in a weird in-between zone. I mean, we're not to the rev sharing part yet, and who knows what kind of changes structurally to the system come as a result of that, or as a result of the game changing yet again. But this portal thing has got to be. It cannot be free transfers all the time.
Yeah. We need.
It can't be free transfers all the time.
I'm asking for a guardrail or two.
And I'm not trying to be, like I said, coaches need to adapt. Coaches need to I think you've heard that from Matt Rule. Matt Rule is 100% unequivocally approaching roster design, roster management way differently from when he got here 2 years ago. It's just different now. So I trust that guy in a situation where you need to be nimble. I think Nebraska will do fine in all these, but it's just not, it's not healthy for anybody. In the NFL, you have contracts. You can't just walk up and leave. You can't just go to another team. You can decide that you don't want to play, but then your value gets incredibly diminished by doing so.
But Connor, coaches can leave whenever they want to.
Yeah. And there are buyouts attached to them. You got to pay the school.
I was just playing devil's advocate.
I know. I know. That's what people say too. But it's the way it is right now. It's not fair to anybody, because then the players jump into the players jump. People are like, well, it's good for the players. Yeah, it ends up being good for them if all you're chasing after is money. But we're also
like to get better as a player.
Yeah, you want to get better. Obviously, there's the whole hey man, what happened to loyalty and what happened to fighting through adversity and all that stuff. You don't even have to go there. I think it could be detrimental to relationships, whether it's on the team, whether it's with your coaching staff. People who spent. Williams Nwaneri is a good example of this. So Williams Nwaneri is a former 5-star recruit out of Kansas City. Ended up committing to Missouri, took visits to Nebraska, right? Nebraska was in on that recruitment for a while. This is from a class from a couple of years ago. And Missouri, the state, literally changed laws so that it was easier for players to make money in NIL. In large part because of Missouri's courtship of Williams Nwaneri. You know who's in the portal today? Williams Nwaneri.
Oh no.
Right? So I get it. Go to a better situation, go to a different, but it's just not you have to bend over backwards to be able to get these players to go to your school. And then there's no guarantee, you don't get any assurances on the back end that they're going to stay for any portion of time, or that they're going to give you anything, right? There has to be a meeting halfway at some point. Our phones. Yeah. People are calling, they have takes, and then they just give up after a certain amount of time. So I want to hear from you guys. 402-951-1620. Here's a tweet from Mitchell on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. I don't think coaches have the luxury of project players anymore. Roster spots are too valuable. I think that's where we've seen a little bit of a change from Rule. They want to develop, and they want to have a core to their roster. But you look around the roster right now, and there's not a huge core. Obviously, you have pieces. You have Dylan Raiola, you have Ja'Cory Barney, you have some young guys on the defense that you trust and aren't going to go anywhere, or maybe won't go anywhere. You never know about anything these days. But there's no doubt about it. With the roster spots being tighter in the first place, You have to be really, really careful about who you're bringing in and what you're tasking them to do. I thought Schaefer, this is something that I've been saying for a long time, ever since the portal thing went into effect. Like, Schaefer wrote about it yesterday, and he talked about it on our show, the whole redshirt thing. Like, generally, every situation is different, but let me speak in overwhelming generalities at this point, Josh. Like, why would you sit a guy out for a year or limit him to playing only 4 games just because the point of redshirting a player is to not have them this year so you can trade out a year on the back end, right? You get an extra year of eligibility, one more than originally intended, one more than originally thought. But if there's no guarantee that you're going to get that year, the year before that, the year before that, the year before that, then why would you redshirt a player once again in general?
This season, I have come around to that line of thinking.
Like, if you feel like you can use them,
don't save the bullets in the chamber.
And
use them.
Once again, every situation is different because some players want to do it, and there is that they're more likely to stay, or they're cool with it. Whatever the coach sort of has the plan laid out for them, but it like Riley Van Poppel from this year. Nebraska probably could have used some more Riley Van Poppel this year, but they obviously felt they were going to hang on to him, and so they redshirted him, and they're going to trade it out for one more year of Riley Van Poppel. If it's a different guy with a different situation who has a different mindset on things, then you probably just you don't get that year. You don't get to play it at the university, and then it's a free year where you're developing the player, you're taking the time out, and you're taking a hit on the football field because you're not playing that guy just for that person to go play the year somewhere else. That's crazy to me. So there's a lot of different arms to this, but obviously the portal does not work right now. It's broke, but could be fun to fix, Josh.
Little flawed right now.
I don't know. Might not actually be that fun to fix. Let's take a phone call here. 42 Degrees of Source Hotline. Here is Douglas. Good morning, Douglas. Thanks for calling. What's up?
Hey, guys. I agree with you completely. There should be some guardrails on the ability to move around. But that's not you all know me as a very forward thinker, outside the box dude, right? Of course.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So back in the day when I was, they used to have a junior varsity program, and it's legal. It's NCAA rules. It's legal. So Huskers have a facility that can handle 150 players or whatever, maybe more. So why not have a JV team of 40 to 50 dudes? Guess what? They can be called up mid-season. You get the Nebraska, Kansas, South Dakota walk-on kids to buy in. The only stipulation is you can't be in your final year of eligibility. And many other schools or many other sports do this in other divisions. Not a lot of D1 sports do it, but other D2 and D3 have JV programs. So it's out there, man. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Douglas. So they're still waiting for more parameters from the NCAA on what this whole 105 is going to look like. There has to be, right? Because if you get 105 players and you can only have 105 players in your building, and what happens if what usually happens, which is 15 of them are hurt at once, then you're down to that, right? And I know NFL rosters deal with 54 guys on their roster right now, but they have full practice squads, they have injured reserves, they have restricted lists, they have places where you could sort of put players and not count against the active roster. I would love to see a setup like that, but I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if that's going to happen. Places where you could put players if they are not eligible at the moment, right? If they're going through some sort of a waiver process and you need to get that, you need to get that taken care of. Is that going to count against the 105? And then you got 20 players injured, and then you got, however many at whatever position, and 15 to 30 of them are freshmen, developmental guys who are just in the program for the first time and aren't expected to contribute to anything on the field, like all of a sudden those numbers get really, really low. And I'm not saying that they're going to run out of players. They won't. Like this will get cut down, but like parameters is kind of important.
If you put me on a JV team, I would immediately transfer.
Great point.
But
it's the same thing as a scout team, right?
Yeah,
it's just saying, hey, you're going to be on the scout.
I would imagine year to year there would be large amounts of turnover on that particular little unit, but it does need to be in place if you're going to limit it to 105.
Another phone call here from Dimitri on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. Good morning, Dimitri.
Hey, good morning, guys. Great conversation. Hey, three things. First, I know the prior caller said something about JV, but I remember when we used to go to the JV route, and we used to find a lot of nuggets. You know, Bo used to bring in a lot of people that way before the transfer portal. What's happened to that? We don't do that anymore, or we just look at the transfer portal? And number two is, if we're giving all these players money, why can't we force them to sign a contract? You know, they're accepting money for payment now for play. Most places where I work is, you know, you take money. You're forced to stay there.
Quickly on that one, Dimitri. Like I would imagine that there is some sort of a framework of a scholarship contract that there's going to be in place. I would imagine.
I hope so, but
it'd probably only be 1 year at a time. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
Well, no, it shouldn't be 1 year and it's done. I mean, if you're signing,
but who's going to sign?
But
if you're a good player, who's going to sign a 4-year contract? Nobody.
Well, if you're making a lot of money, like our quarterback, you know, and quarterback is a different position, and I understand that. But what I noticed though with our quarterback Raiola is the way he played. I went back on the internet and I found some of his high school stuff. It's almost like the coaches are trying to change the way he plays. Why don't we try to change our offense more to the way he understands it instead of trying to force him to change? You know, do like Kansas City coach does. You know, he changed his offense to fit his quarterback. Why can't we do that?
Yeah.
You know?
Thanks for the call, Dimitri. Appreciate it. So, yeah, I think he said three things, right? Those were his three things.
I believe so. You sign a contract, you're an employee. The verbiage needs to be ironed out, which legalese takes a long time.
On the fitting Dylan Raiola to, you know, I think they're in the process of that. Like that's why you bring in Dana Holgorsen.
Open this thing up a bit.
Yeah, right. And then what was the first thing? The Nuggets? What was this about the Nuggets?
Bo used to bring in nuggets.
What does that mean?
JV team.
Like chicken nuggets?
I don't know.
Like bricking for chicken?
Players? What? Bricking for chicken all over my timeline.
Bricking for chicken. Bricking for chicken is everywhere. Creighton did bricking for chicken the last 2 years. This year it's bricking for McChicken, brought to you by McDonald's. And now Nebraska has decided they're doing a bricking for chicken, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. So everybody gets chicken nuggets when the opponent misses 2 free throws.
Is Bo bringing them in?
Bo's bringing in the nuggets.
Okay.
Bo's bringing in the nuggets. Yeah, like they're always going to. Rule will always recruit developmental players. Like they're going to bring in guys. What does he always say? We're not going to recruit you unless we feel like you could be in the NFL. And there's different timelines for everybody on that. Now, how much is that actually true? I don't know. But like you bring a guy into your program, you feel like he could play football. Just everybody's timeline's a little bit different. They have some of those. You hope that they flash now because Nebraska's roster's a little emptier. Speaking of which, here's Steve Marek from Rivals. Nebraska tight end A.J. Rollins has entered the transfer portal, according to a source. Rollins, an Omaha native, Creighton prep product, spent the last 4 seasons with the Huskers and played both tight end and defensive line. Yeah, he was like bouncing back and forth. He was going snip, snap, snip, snap. So that's another guy in the portal. I was thinking about the tight end position, and you know, there's one like pending guy out there who you're sort of wondering about. I forgot. I don't know why I thought of this, but I forgot that they have that. Nebraska has that LSU guy that they brought in like randomly at the beginning of the year. Remember? And then he like tore his ACL. immediately. Mac Markaway. So they still have them before you pan. I mean, Nebraska's gonna have to fill a lot of spots in the transfer portal, and they're gonna have to ask a lot of guys to step up. Like there's not enough scholarship offensive linemen for an offensive line right now, and there's almost not enough scholarship defensive linemen for a defensive line.